I would go to the USA in a heartbeat if we could as physician associates. But sometimes when I look at the news and the type of things that go around, it makes me double think. But to be honest, apart from the mamacitas I could be dancing bachata with and the big size burgers man could be nyamming on, is there really much of a difference between the experience of physician associate in the UK and that of the USA? For sure, they've been here longer than us. I think they came around in 1965 and we were formally introduced in 2003. So they are OGs to say the least. Similar to us, they face the same challenges from the medical establishment. You are not good enough, go to medical school or go home. You know the drill. You are just doctors on the chip. And the recent name change from physician assistant to physician associates and the associated pushback, you see the double entendre I did there, shows that these challenges are well and thriving. Pushback was mainly based on the narrative that the name change was going to further blur the lines between the now physician associates and physicians, confusing patients. Their courses tend to be masters, normally 3 years compared to our usual 2 years. And unlike us, they did not have any apprenticeship programs or undergrad programs, and their clinical hours seems to be 2,000 instead of 1,006 or 1,004. I think during the pandemic there were some changes with hours, considering their years of existence since 1965. It should really come as no surprise that there are over 300 institutions offering the physician associate program compared to our 37 we have here. Of course, we are still new, but I think in the future more will come up, but who knows. Like us, they are required to maintain a continuous professional development. They don't call them CPDs, they call them CMEs. I think it's about 100 points they need to have in 5 2-year cycles. At the end of these 10 years, they need to sit a recertification exam, a revalidation exam, instead of the 6 years we do here. They have a pain-like exams, they call it PAINS, PA National Certification Exam. And once you've sat this exam and you've passed it, you can then practice as a certified physician associate. So far, it doesn't seem like we are missing out on anything. But because they've been regulating since the 1970s, they've been prescribing since the 1980s, and clearly can order ionizing radiation. These are things the bros over here, we are still struggling for. Like us, our OGs are not autonomous. They can practice independently with the supervision of a physician. However, with the growing independence of nurse practitioners, there are talks within the grapevine if physician associates are also to pursue this type of path. There are a lot of people within the physician associate community over there that are really reluctant and are opposed to this idea of physician associates practicing independently without supervision. There is more to be seen on how this develops, because whatever turn this takes over there, give it 10-15 years, it will happen in the UK. Guaranteed. With the USA being the big economy it is and having a non-socialized healthcare system, the bros are in a different league altogether when it comes to their salaries. They don't do your 30s and your 40s. That is just chump change for them. They do your 100Ks, your 120s, the 150, and speculatively some 200Ks. Assuming the average is 100K, considering the current exchange rate today, that'll be about 82k pounds. The cost of living, as the numbers were back in 2021, suggested that in New York compared to London, the cost of living was about 0.5% higher. It looks like nothing, but when you add it on top of things go. The 100k, as we might deem it, might not hit the same way we think it's going to hit when you are over there. If you add on top of this taxes, be it federal tax, state tax, and things start to look a bit not too wow. The truth of the matter is physician associates in the UK cannot work within the USA. Though there is argument that maybe after regulation, this could become an avenue one could explore. But I'm doubtful on 2 grounds. The only reason we were brought into this medical field within the NHS is 1. There is a shortage of doctors. The NHS is hemorrhaging doctors to Aussie land, Australia, New Zealand, USA, Canada. So I ask you, why would the powers that be add further insult to injury? Further supporting my claim is the fact that the ability of our bros from another bada to the USA to practice is dependent on the GMC participating, I think, in what they call the World Federation of Medical Education, if I'm not butchering it. The participation of the GMC in got them accredited, and through said accreditation, the ECFMG, which is like a board within the USA that recognizes medical schools from outside the USA. So you need that World Federation accreditation, then this ECFMG within the USA then recognizes your medical education before you can practice. Granted, you've passed your USLME Miami 1, 2, step 3, whatever comes with that. There was this idea floating about that for some odd reason the GMC had not applied for this accreditation, meaning medical graduates within the UK would not be technically able to go to the USA and practice. That has been sorted out. That is no longer the case. I think the ECFMG offered an alternative path for universities. What is interesting to me about this whole fact was the arguments the GMC gave as to why they did not apply for this accreditation. They argued that them applying for accreditation from this World Federation of Medical Education, that thing over there, would not offer any benefit to patients within the UK. So I ask you, me dancing bachata with some mamacitas in Miami or chewing some ribeye in Texas, what benefit will it confer to patients within the UK? The answer is zero. So the likelihood of the GMC, after regulating us, giving us that opportunity to is closer to zero than we think. However, if the ECFMG within the USA gives us the same ability it gave to the medical students, because their medical schools are recognized by this NCPA long-ass name thing, then technically, if you do a physician associate course within this medical school, then you could also apply to the ECFMG PA pathway. This is all just speculation on my behalf, but it's kind of interesting. This was just me ranting once again. Don't listen to me. It's your boy Yoti, and I'm out. Salute.